There is a moment in Scripture where the Son of God, alone in a desert, is offered exactly what he needs, exactly what would prove who he is, and exactly what the whole world already belongs to him anyway. 3 offers, 3 different kinds of pressure, and every single time, the same answer. This is the account of the wilderness temptation found in Matthew chapter 4 and Luke chapter 4, and it isn't just a story about one moment of testing. It's a structure, a sequence that escalates level by level from a genuine physical need all the way to an open offer of power in exchange for worship. This is every level of temptation. Level 1, the vulnerable moment. Before any of the 3 tests happen, Scripture sets the scene carefully. Jesus has just been baptized, the heavens opened, and God's own voice affirmed him as his son. And immediately after that moment of affirmation, he is led into the wilderness, where he fasts for 40 days and 40 nights. This is not a random setting. It's the specific condition of physical weakness and isolation that the first test will be built around. It's worth noticing early. Closeness to God did not exempt him from being tested. In this account, it directly precedes it. Level 2. The first test. After 40 days without food, the tempter approaches with a simple sentence. If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Notice the structure here. The desire itself, hunger, is completely legitimate. There's nothing sinful about being hungry after 40 days of fasting, but the offer is wrapped inside a condition. If you are the Son of God. Before the temptation even reaches the physical need, it first reaches for doubt, an attempt to destabilize identity before offering the object of the test itself. This is the pattern Scripture shows twice in this account, and it's worth naming clearly because temptation rarely announces itself as evil. It usually announces itself as a reasonable solution to a real problem. Level 3. The scriptural response. Jesus doesn't answer with an explanation, a debate, or an appeal to his own authority. He answers with Scripture. Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God, quoting directly from Deuteronomy. This becomes the pattern for the entire account. Every single response Jesus gives in the wilderness is a direct quotation from Scripture, not a personal argument constructed in the moment. The response models something specific and repeatable, meeting temptation with the word, spoken deliberately, rather than relying only on willpower or reasoning in the moment it arrives. Level 4. The second test. The tempter escalates. In Matthew's account, Jesus is taken to the highest point of the temple in Jerusalem, and the test shifts entirely in character. It's no longer about a legitimate physical need. It's about presumption. If you are the Son of God, the tempter says again, throw yourself down. And this time, the tempter does something worth pausing on. He quotes Scripture directly, Psalm 91 promising that angels will protect him. This is the moment where the escalation becomes unmistakable, temptation reaching for sacred language itself, twisting a promise of protection into an invitation to test God rather than trust him. Level 5. The scriptural response. Jesus responds again with Scripture, this time from Deuteronomy. Do not put the Lord your God to the test. The correction here is precise, not a rejection of the verse the tempter quoted, but an exposure of how it was being misused, pulled out of the fuller context it belongs to. This is a specific and important distinction Scripture draws in this account. A verse can be quoted accurately and still be used to serve a distorted purpose, and recognizing that requires knowing the full context, not just the individual line being offered. Level 6, the third test. The tempter escalates one final time, and here the disguise falls away almost entirely. Jesus is shown all the kingdoms of the world in a single moment and offered all of it, dominion, power, glory, in exchange for one thing, worship. There's no, if you are the Son of God, this time, no appeal to a legitimate need, no misquoted Scripture, just a direct offer of everything the world holds for allegiance. This is the most exposed of the 3 tests, the one where the actual cost of every earlier offer becomes visible. The final level, the departure. Jesus' final response ends the confrontation entirely. Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. And Scripture records what happens next. The tempter leaves, and angels come and attend to him. The escalation that built across 3 tests, from a request for bread to an offer of the entire world, ends not with a negotiation, but with a clear refusal rooted in the same source used throughout the whole account. The big reveal. Look at the structure across all three tests, and a pattern emerges that Scripture describes directly elsewhere. In James chapter 1, desire is drawn away and enticed, and when that desire is allowed to take hold, it gives birth to something far more costly than it first appeared to offer. Every one of the three wilderness tests follows this same underlying shape: a real desire, an enticement that reframes it, and an offer that requires compromise to obtain it. In every single response Jesus gives comes from the same place, not a new argument invented in the moment, but Scripture spoken. Scripture makes a direct promise about this. In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, temptation is common to everyone. No one faces something entirely unprecedented, and a way out is always provided. The wilderness account isn't just a record of what happened to Jesus once, it's a model, the pattern of how temptation escalates and the pattern of how it was met, both laid out clearly enough to recognize and follow. Three tests, three different pressures, one consistent answer, drawn every time from the same source. If you've ever wondered whether temptation escalating in intensity means something has gone wrong, this account suggests otherwise. It's simply the pattern, and Scripture provides both the pattern and the way through it. There's another hidden system waiting in the next video.